Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Jake, this is Nadia, this is Buddy, this is Babu, Sedona is right over here. And today we are talking about the new Godzilla film from Legendary Pictures, Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. I don't know exactly how to pronounce Godzilla X Kong. Is it just Godzilla and Kong?
I think Godzilla and Kong.
First off, let's talk a little bit about our experience with Godzilla. So I know that this is the new run of Godzilla films starting with Godzilla from 2014, I think, Gareth Edwards' Godzilla. I've seen that one, but I haven't seen any of the other ones until this one. For some reason, we just decided to
We did
see
see
it.
the latest one that's not associated with this.
Godzilla Minus One, of course, totally different production, Japanese produced film. That was amazing. And this movie is the total opposite end of what Godzilla can be. I'm really...
We've seen a few King Kong films as well.
I love King Kong. I love Peter Jackson's King
Yeah.
Kong. It's a guilty pleasure. Not even guilty pleasure. It's just a great movie. So I'm really curious to see what you thought of this film.
I really liked it.
Uh-huh.
I would give it an 8 out of 10. It was just such a fun film. I was surprised and I really loved it. And it's just so fun and charming and just a good time. And I love that it was like less than 2 hours long. I was laughing and there's a lot of comedy in this film. I also thought the CGI was pretty good. You disagree with me clearly with your face. So why don't you just tell me? Just tell me.
I really liked it.
Nuh-uh.
I actually really enjoyed it, to my surprise. I did not want to see this movie.
You did not, yeah.
No interest in like the whole MonsterVerse. But this movie just kind of, I feel like I wasn't missing anything. We were kind of dropped into this world and I was like, all right, these are our characters. This is the situation going on. And it's not a super complex story by any means. It's just like a fun action romp and with great fun visuals and like monster battles, and it was light on its feet and didn't take itself too seriously. I thought it knew what it was, and while I was watching, I was thinking a lot about other recent blockbusters we've seen that are heavy on CGI. Like this movie takes place mostly in a CGI world, but it didn't feel overwhelming. It didn't feel gross. I was thinking a lot about previous blockbusters we've seen recently, like The Flash, Ant-Man, Quantumania. Oh, and Aquaman. Aquaman 2. That was one I was thinking about a lot because there's a lot of jungles in Aquaman 2 and in this. And I was like, man, Aquaman 2, everything looked gross and was so choppy and the editing was all over the place. This movie felt like it had a voice. Like there was precision and there was intent behind the scenes. Like they knew what they were doing. Like you may not agree with what they were doing. You may think, oh, it's kind of shallow and it's not super deep and it's just like dumb. But you could tell that they were filming it with clarity and they had an idea behind it, you know? Once I recognized that, I was like, this is fun. Like I see what they're going for. King Kong and his like baby Kong was like the best part of the whole fucking movie.
More like Toddler Kong.
Toddler Kong, their little dynamic and relationship. And I mean, there's so many funny parts in this movie that we'll talk about in spoilers. Delightful and like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing that with this huge blockbuster. It just felt almost like a kid with their toy set smashing, dinosaurs together, but in a fun way, not in a like, oh geez, this is just like a visual diarrhea. It felt very well blocked and choreographed. And the human characters were fine. They were sort of fun. They didn't get in the way. They added a little bit, but really the main story is like, this is about King Kong. Godzilla to a minor level, but it was really a lot more about King Kong. Gelled with it. I thought it was just really fun.
It was really interesting where Godzilla started in this film and how it goes back and how it ends. It's really about nature and it's about like humans' interaction with nature. And the Hollow Earth is where it seems like humans know how to work with nature in harmony, whereas above here, we kind of have a conflict with nature. I thought it was portrayed in a really efficient manner because, like you said, I agree with everything you said, surprisingly. Because it didn't feel like a vomit. It felt like everything was done just at the right pace. There was comedy relief, and it was just really interesting.
It reminded me of Journey to the Center of the Earth.
That is a really good comparison. Yeah, it was adventurous, and honestly, just watch it. If you want to have a fun time, you don't want a movie that's way too long, you want to just like...
And you haven't seen any of the others in this series.
Not in this series, no. It honestly made me want to go back and watch it.
I want to watch Godzilla vs. Kong now and Skull Island and stuff.
Yep.
Absolutely. Should we get into spoilers?
3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1. Spoilers.
All right. So what did you think about Gia?
She was fine. I mean,
Yeah.
it was like you had the mother-daughter relationship, and I saw in a review where people were drawing parallels to how Kong kind of has a parental relationship too in this, being a parent and doing the responsible thing and etc. Yeah, I don't know. I just have to say first off, like one of the best moments in the whole movie is when Kong comes upon the other apes down in Hollow Earth. They all start attacking him, and then the little one like bites his hand first. They're all attacking him, and then he just grabs the little one and starts hitting the others.
Yeah,
with
he uses it as like a
like a little hammer.
Yeah, exactly. It was so good, and I really loved the journey of seeing the little Kong become himself. You can kind of see like, okay, the other apes are pretty not nice when Kong first meets them, and then the little Kong tries to kill King Kong
Mhm.
in various different ways, but Kong is like teaching him empathy, teaching him love, and at the end, I really love the part that the little Kong plays in everything and how he becomes brave because he goes from being fearful
Mhm.
because of the villain ape leader
Mhm.
who wants to come to this earth.
The movie just reaches such heights of silliness that you just feel like the writers and the directors and people behind the movie are just having fun, and like they love these
Yeah.
characters and these monsters from their childhood, and they're just putting them in situations that they always wanted to see them, and that's what it felt like.
Yeah, and that's what I loved about it, is that it was just a fun time. It wasn't like something that you have to think too hard about at all. The logic was very clear. Of course there are going to be people who died in this film, and you always wonder like, oh man, are they still going to try to like not kill
The pyramids get
Godzilla,
destroyed.
or like there's some havoc that Kong and Godzilla wreak. Ultimately they do that to save Earth, but it would be interesting to see where that leads to if there's more security, because Godzilla, he goes back to the Colosseum in
The end.
Rome to and
The little
sleeps there
donkey bed.
again. And it's just interesting. I loved the ending where Kong, the little Kong, we'll just call him, and the white version of Godzilla, who
Oh, the ice one.
the
Yeah, I
ice
forget
one,
what
yeah.
it's called. Yeah.
They all go back on Hollow Earth, but then Godzilla is like, "No, I'm good. I have my bed right here," and he goes to Colosseum almost like a dog bed, and then
Mhm. There's so many good like visual moments. It reaches
Yeah.
like slapstick comedy, like silent movie, because there's so many sequences in this movie where it's just the apes, and they aren't talking. There's no subtitles. It's just their facial expressions. I mean, the motion capture people, or however they did it, the animators did an amazing job
Yeah.
just communicating like what's going on in these completely CGI scenes, CGI background, CGI everything. They're able to communicate this so well that you're getting emotional. You're so invested.
Those
like,
are my favorite parts of the
Oh,
whole
yeah,
thing. Was
absolutely.
actually not to do with humans at all. It was to
and that's
do
how it should
with
be with these monster movies. That's how it always has been.
I felt really bad like when they did a really good job of portraying the the white Godzilla like being tortured, and
Mhm.
how she didn't really want to do anything. I really thought that she was going to get together with Godzilla. Like
I think one of the most badass moments in the movie is when the bad ape is defeated and Godzilla returns to like the cavern where all the apes are imprisoned and enslaved, and he's riding the ice dinosaur, and he has the little guy with him, and he like roars, and they're all freed, and it's so ridiculous and silly but the whole movie knows that tone, and it's just like a pure adventure fun. Like it's just like so unabashedly itself that I just couldn't help finding it endearing and fun.
And I also really liked the dynamic between Trapper and Bernie in the film. It was really funny because
I like Trapper, yeah.
is very hippie, and I really love the part where Bernie and Trapper, they all see like one of their colleagues get eaten by a tree, and then Trapper is just super like chill about it. It's like, we thought we conquered the food chain, and then Bernie goes, wrong with you. And then they like both like bond throughout the film. I also like the part where King Kong gets his hand. I love the beginning where King Kong's his tooth aches, and he has like infected tooth, and then he gets a metal, but it was like a artificial tooth that is inserted in him. So yeah, I really liked all of that, and I liked the bond between Gia and Kong, and how she chooses at the end end to be with her adoptive mother, you know, really shows you home is like where your heart is. It was just really heartwarming. I really don't have anything negative to say, to be honest.
You know, the dynamic between the mom and daughter was simple, but I mean, it added a little bit more to the movie, and I didn't mind the human stuff at all. I actually really enjoyed when they all kind of decide, because we're watching this movie going like, all right, where is this going? And I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this. How long is this going to be? And then there's that sequence where they all figure out they have to go into Hollow Earth and they're getting ready to go on this mission. And it's like you start to feel like, oh, we're doing like an adventure. Like they're going into Hollow Earth and this is what this movie is going to be. We start to build up, like the build up towards the villain is so long, but so worth it that you really feel the weight of like how bad this villain is. This ape who's like enslaving all these other apes and everything and wants to come wreak havoc. And it was so fun. And also one of the best parts is when when King Kong finally goes up into, you know, on the pyramids to try to get Godzilla to join him to go defeat him. And the expressions that King Kong does are so like human and funny, where he's looking at him like,
no, he's like, hey, I want to just talk. Trust me. And he's like, okay, fine. You want to fight? Let's fight. And then they like fight. And then
it takes Mothra to fly in and, you know.
Exactly. Like get them at peace. Like, come on, guys. We don't have time for this. It was really well done. And I actually like that the mom-daughter story was simple because there's so much happening in this film. And I think like if you made it more complex, it could be easily a little bit too much and could be like more of a vomit. But
it was definitely more about King Kong than about them. And I was fine.
That's what I really liked about this is maybe it's because it's like, you know, they've had many other films that leads up to this film, but it didn't feel like there was too much of anything. It felt like there was just enough of a storyline to kind of keep something going, and I felt like the logic made sense. Again, like you stated, the parts where, you know, the apes are just talking, like not talking, but like, you know, gesturing and communicating in their own way. It was very well done, not confusing at all. I even liked how they narrated when Godzilla was moving around different places. I thought that was important because because Godzilla isn't like interacting with anyone else. I thought, well, he was interacting, but he was trying to kill people. Not trying to, he was defending himself, but he was like, get out of my way, and he was killing this other creature. Other than that, it was really his journey alone for a lot of the film. So I really like some of the narration of what he's trying to do is he's trying to like absorb all this power and radiation to prepare for something. And so I really like that they explained in a great way some parts that we wouldn't be able to probably understand on our own, but also at the same time executed it so well that they didn't need to explain anything about like the apes and what they stand for and everything else. It was, I mean, I guess there was a little bit of exposition where Gia's mom was like breeding all that stuff, but besides that, I thought it was really well done. And I think it's like a fun film for all ages.
And if you're a King Kong or a Godzilla fan, I think you'll love this automatically because it just feels very in touch with like the material, at least from my perspective as someone who's not deep into the lore or anything. I mean, I can't emphasize enough how intentional every shot felt and every sequence and action set piece. It really felt like they put a lot of planning behind this. You watch this and watch Aquaman 2 or The Flash, and it's just like night and day in terms of the voice, in terms of there's someone behind this with an idea. So
all right, well, let us know.
Oh, and I'd give it like a 7 or 8 out of 10.
Oh, very close to mine, which was 8. So all right, well, let us know what you thought.
Let us know
if you watched it. Let us know if you liked it. If not, then tell us why not.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Bye.